Hello, family, and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Stephanie Rivers. Come on in and welcome to the conversation. I'm multicasting on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. So, from whatever platform you're watching, we want to welcome you to the conversation. And if this is your first time, welcome aboard. I'm sure you're going to hear something and see something that makes you want to like, share, and subscribe so that the next time that I post new videos, you will be the first to know. So come on into the conversation. You're watching my journal. I'm Stephanie Rivers. And if you are a subscriber, I want to thank you for subscribing. It's growing every day. In fact, I'm going to start doing giveaways to my subscribers as you start to join in. So today we're talking about communication because communication is the key. And we're starting off with the 22 women who have accused suspended Houston Texans star quarterback Deshaun Watson of harassment and sexual misconduct during private massage sessions between 2020 and 2021. But just last week, a grand jury in Harris County, that's where Houston is, they refused to indict Watson. So he gets to walk away from all the legal charges, but he still has to face the 22 civil lawsuits that these women have filed against him. And we're going to talk about it. Also, entertainer Chris Brown, he came forward with at least one voicemail and a couple of texts that back up his claim that the woman who recently accused him of rape lied about their encounter, and she just wanted some of that vitamin D. Okay, so now Brown has said that he plans to sue her for lying on him. So we're going to talk about that. And Hollywood director Ryan Coogler, best known for directing the hit movies Black Panther and Creed, he got walked out of a bank in handcuffs the other day after a teller called the cops and said that Coogler was trying to rob the bank. Now, it turns out that he simply was trying to withdraw $12,000 from his own account. So, did the teller overreact? We're going to talk about it. WNBA star Brittney Griner. She's still trying to get back on U.S. soil after it's been about 3 weeks that she was arrested in Russia. She's accused of illegal possession of CBD oil found in her luggage at the airport. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And I have a question. What do all these people have in common? What do Deshaun Watson and Chris Brown and Ryan Coogler and Brittney Griner, what do they all have in common? Well, we know they're African Americans, they're Black people in America. But here's what I think they also have in common. Now, while I never have had personal experience like they are dealing with, but I have had personal experiences where I had to stop and ask myself, what was it that I did or should have done differently to help me to not have that negative situation? And in each of these situations, it comes down to a common denominator, and that is there was a failure to effectively communicate. It's that simple. And I know it seems simple and it seems like common sense, but the older I get, the more I realize common sense ain't so common. Okay, so let's unpack each of the situations and talk about them. Now, in the instance of Deshaun Watson, there's the case, the 22 women who didn't know each other, but through police reports and their attorneys, They have eerily similar stories about what happened between them and the superstar QB during private massage sessions. Now, whether you believe that 22 women who don't know each other but have similar stories are all lying just to get money from Watson, or whether you believe that Watson is the person who's lying, what he lying about what he called their consensual sexual encounter. What's clear is that there was a breakdown in communication with these women. See, by now you probably know, as I know, that when athletes go pro, especially because they're starting to go pro at such younger ages every year, they might not have the they might not be as mature as some of their counterparts. They might not be used to having all the money. They might not be used to having all the attention that they're getting from women. And so the the whether it's the NFL or the NBA or baseball, soccer, any of these, hockey, these pro teams, pro sports leagues, they're starting to offer these guys some type of classes on what not to do with random women. First of all, you don't sleep with strippers or thoughts who show up to games looking to catch somebody's eye, and they, just want anybody's eye, anybody who might have some money. Don't sleep with them. Don't catch the eye of, especially probably who's included in that is if you hire a masseuse off of social media, it's probably a good idea not to just try to sleep with them. Okay. And that is what I think is happening is there's a people are not listening to, they're making nonsensical decisions about how they spend their private time and who they spend their private time with. In fact, it's probably a good idea for people who have lots of money and who have a lot to lose and who are dealing with people who have everything to gain, that you start to create a paper trail about the expectations of the relationship, or you might call it a situationship, starting with writing a non-disclosure agreement. And you don't even have to be like a baller. I remember when I was starting my career, and I was a TV reporter, and I things were happening. People would say things to you in the newsroom, or just you would see how they might treat you, or I would see how they would treat me in the newsroom versus another reporter in the newsroom. And my mother even said, just start writing stuff down, Stephanie. Start taking notes. On this day, this happened. On that day, at this time, this happened. This is what they said to me, but this is what they said to him or her. And so it always is a good idea to start building a paper trail, just so when you have to refer back to something, you have something besides your recollection to refer to. Um, so in the instance, especially when you're $1 million earner and you're dealing with people who making $100, you want to make sure that you start building a paper trail, starting with a non-disclosure agreement. Don't talk, don't tell. So when they start showing and telling, you can pull out your paperwork and have everything in order. It's kind of like that movie. I've been trying to think of what that movie was. Remember the movie with the couple? The guy was a tycoon. He met the girl. She was in college and he ended up marrying her in the long run. But in the beginning, remember, it was just this like, let's get together. I'm going to tie you up. I'm going to chain you up. I'm going to have sex with you. And I'll pay for whatever he agreed to. I can't remember. I didn't remember seeing the whole movie, but I do remember he had her sign some paperwork. Okay. And so if anything went down, it was a consensual, she was of age, and everybody was on the same page. So you probably know what movie I'm talking about. And they did like 3, it was a sequel or whatever. I can't. remember the name of the movie. But anyway, so paperwork, that's most important. If you haven't already, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you will be the first to know. So the same goes for Chris Brown. AKA, they call him the Thought Slayer. Okay, his reputation precedes him for getting involved in risky behavior with random women. Okay, now I know y'all claim that some sexual encounters just happen. It just happened. I don't know what happened. It just happened. But for grown, mature individuals who have something to lose, there shouldn't be no just it just happened type of sexual encounters. Okay. When will It's like some of y'all are stuck in the id. If you took a psychology class, there's the id, the ego, and the super ego. Some of y'all are stuck in the id stage, like y'all are like 2 years old, and whatever you want is when you want it and how you want it, and if you don't get it, you cry, make a big fuss about it. So some of y'all stuck in the id, and y'all need to be trying to move through the ego into the super ego stage of development. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you need to read up on some psychology or go take a psychology class to figure it out. But anyway, since Brown seems to prefer the company of different types of women, at least he's learned to start a paper trail. I give him that. And that shows that the woman in this instance wanted him worse, worse than he wanted her. She was basically pursuing him. And then when he didn't follow through with her demands or give her the attention that she was looking for, then she went and accused him of rape. And that's what it seems like it's coming down to. So and he would not have been able to prove that had it not been for the texts and the voicemails, because based on his history, he already would some people had already convicted him in their minds. Okay, so kudos to him. Get that paperwork started. Now, let's go on to Ryan Coogler. Now, I don't know Coogler, but one might assume that somebody who's smart enough to write and direct award-winning movies would devise a better way to withdraw money from his account, other than to write a note on a napkin, directing the teller to be discreet while wearing a mask, while being Black in America. Okay, it just makes no sense. That is all the ingredients for a bad case of whoop ass at best and a dead Black man at the bank at worst. Okay, we know it could have gone real left for Ryan Coogler. Okay, so here's the note that Coogler wrote, and I got all this from the media. So it says, I would like to withdraw $12,000 cash from my checking account. Please do the money count somewhere else. I'd like to be discreet. Now, it's called alleged letter. Okay, now that looks like a withdrawal slip. So maybe on the front end of that, he had written out everything that was supposed to be on the front of a withdrawal slip, but then he wrote that on the back and then handed it to the teller. And so therein, therein lies the problem. So essentially, if you haven't heard or you don't know the whole story, apparently Ryan Coogler was in Atlanta in the middle of filming the sequel to Black Panther. He went to the bank. He had two people with him. That's a total of three. Two of them, they stayed in a vehicle outside in a parking lot. He came in, gave the teller this note. Let's assume on the front end, on the other side, he had all his information. I don't know. But on the back end, that's what he gave to the teller. Okay. So he's saying he wants to withdraw $12,000. Now, maybe there is an alert at the bank that says that if you try to withdraw more than 10,000, it creates a federal alert, or maybe it's the bank alert. Just the same as if you try to deposit more than 10,000, that creates some type of issue. Um, or maybe his account itself had an alert. He didn't know it. Maybe he forgot it. I know me myself, if I have credit cards and bank accounts, and if you try to withdraw more than a few $100s, I get a text on my phone that says, "Hey, heads up." Okay. Even if it's me doing it, I'm like, "Oh, that's me." But definitely if it's somebody else. So somebody of a Ryan Coogler status, probably has alerts on his account. So maybe he forgot that he had the alerts on his account. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it might have been a bank situation, but at any rate, that's what happened, requesting $12,000 from his account. Now, the teller, who ended up calling the cops, saying that someone was there trying to steal money from his account or to rob the bank. It was a black woman teller. So, and it is Atlanta. So I'm sure this teller has had black people roll through the bank before, rich black people, ATL, that's all that they claim lives there. So I'm sure she's had rich black people show up at the bank coming to get their money before. Okay. So I don't think, based on all the information that I know, and there might be some more information out there, that she overreacted, because again, it could have been a federal alert or a bank alert that she has to follow procedure. And her procedure was, I need to get with my manager. And then the manager might have said, we need to call the police. Now, could they have gone out to him and said, sir, we need to talk to you off to the side? Yeah, they could have done that. But before we get there, let's go to, I want to show you the video of what happened at the bank to Coogler.
Hey, sir. Do me a favor, man. Come this way. Put your hand behind your back.
No, got it. Is there any reason y'all doing this, bro?
Give me 1 second. Hold on. Is that what the grease was?
No, sir.
204, one never take.
Fellas, I really should do it. I mean,
What's going on, my man?
trying to throw money on my own.
You said what?
Yeah,
This your phone?
it is, sir.
Okay, so they ended up walking him out of the bank. And I should have said it before, but I'm saying it now. I'm showing you this information because through the Copyright Act of 1976, I can show you this video, because we are doing it, because we're educating ourselves on what not to do. We're talking about what happened is public record, what happened. So I'm able to share that with you based off the Copyright Act of 1976. We are discussing this video because we, for the purposes of educating and researching and critiquing. And that's what we're doing, educating y'all on what not to do when y'all go to the bank trying to get some money out. Okay, so that's what happened to Coogler. Now, how could Coogler have handled this better? Because it's not just, again, I try to ask myself, what could I have done? Because I can't control nobody but me. Okay. Coogler could have done something differently so that he would have had a better outcome, family. Okay, so I'm putting this on Coogler. Okay, so how could he have handled it better? Well, he could have called ahead. How about call ahead and ask the bank, what's your procedure for large withdrawals? That could have happened. Or maybe because he's Ryan Coogler and he probably has somebody handling his account in LA or wherever he lives. Because I don't think Atlanta is his home area. And definitely this ain't his home bank because I didn't even know who the brother was. Okay. So maybe he could have called his banker in LA and said, LA, can y'all call Atlanta and let them know I'm coming to the bank to get $12,000 out? Or maybe Ryan could have just made the call and said, what's the procedure? I want to withdraw $12,000. Can you meet me? Can I have an appointment at 1 o'clock in that little office over there with the manager or the bank teller? I'm gonna bring my ID. This is what I'm going to be doing. So people will be expecting you. So you just won't show up with a note on the back of a withdrawal slip telling somebody to be discreet, hand you $12,000, and you got a mask on and you a black man in America. And it just, even to this day, when I go into the bank, especially at the beginning of COVID, and you would have the mask on. If it was cold, you got on your headgear, you got your arms all wrapped up, and you got on the mask. And I would just step into the bank. And as soon as I stepped in, I would take off my hat, I would take my hands out my pockets, and just let people see, I have nothing to hide. I got a withdrawal slip or deposit slip, and that's what I'm about right now, because you just never know what people are thinking and how they are going to react. And so Coogler, if he wanted discretion, he could have been more discreet in how he went about it. He could have called ahead. That's the main thing. Just communication is the key. Okay. So yeah. In the video, I do want to commend the cops who, because you saw that one cop, he did, in fact, he took out his weapon and pointed it at, well, he didn't point it. He took out his weapon, and then I don't know if he thought better of it or his partner said, gave him a signal like, nah, we don't need all that. Let's just go on outside. They were like, nah, we got this, bro. Let's, it's me and you. And clearly they could see his hands. There was no need for a weapon. He was not threatening them in any manner. And so sounder, is that the term? Calmer heads prevailed, and they went on outside, walked him outside. So I do want to recognize that these cops in this instance practice de-escalation techniques. So we want to thank them for that and recognize it when they do the right thing. So let's go to Brittney Griner. The Russian government is accusing her of essentially being a drug trafficker for having CBD oil in her luggage while she was traveling through the airport trying to leave Russia. Okay. CBD oil is extracted from marijuana. Okay. And it can be used for medicinal purposes. And even though it is illegal in the United States, apparently it's not legal in Russia. And therein lies the problem, Brittany. Okay. And those people have zero level of tolerance against what they consider to be drug trafficking. Now, I'm sure you've heard the term, when in Rome, do as Romans do. That means don't go to Russia and try to tell Russia what's legal in the United States. And that's why you're doing what you're doing. Okay. Because they don't give a damn. Okay. That's why you 3 weeks in trying to get out. Okay. So, yeah, you just have to act accordingly, know the rules before you go, and quit trying to make people recognize where your standards, and you are far away from the house. Okay. People get on. That's like, with school, even with teachers. One teacher requires one thing, another teacher requires something totally different, but their rooms are down the hall from each other. But that doesn't matter. When you step into Miss So-and-so's class, you do like Miss So-and-so wants you to do. When you step in Mr. So-and-so class, you do what Mr. So-and-so wants you to do. That is that simple. They communicated their their rules and regulations for their job, for their class, and that's what you go by when you're in their room. It's that simple. So Deshaun Watson, Chris Brown, Ryan Coogler, and Brittney Griner have one thing in common. They fail to communicate. They fail to read the rules and regulations. They fail to think ahead and get a paper trail and make the phone calls and see what's going on. And so that is a problem. People don't follow simple directions. Communication is the key. So make your, whether you are $1 million earner or you $100 earner, make your expectations plain, okay? Know what people expect of you and let people know what you expect of them. And if y'all can't agree on that on paper, then you don't need to be dealing with those people, okay? Put it in writing, read the rules, and follow the rules. And these four, if these four people had just communicated with the people that they were engaging with in a way that everybody was on the same page, like they did with that movie when he said, look, this is what I'm going to be doing to you. I'm going to tie you up. I'm going to do whatever I want to do with you. And you got to take it. And if you can't take it, then don't sign this paperwork because it's about to go down after this paperwork. And so you got to start the paperwork. And that's what they did not do. So I just want to keep it simple. And even now, when people start saying things and using terms, and I consider myself to be moderately intelligent, at least. But I don't have a problem asking questions though. Some people, they're afraid to ask a question. Oh, I might seem stupid. You're gonna look real stupid once they start expecting stuff of you and you have no idea because you didn't want to ask a question. So, at the end of some of even meetings that I have, I do an email and says, this is what we discussed. This is what I understand. And this is what's going to happen. Just get in the habit of backing yourself up. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's all I got for you today, family. Just communication is the key, whether you are a first grade teacher or you are a Hollywood director writing award-winning movies. Communication is the key, okay? So to find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. It's at eurweb.com. Thanks, and you have a super day.